Yes, sir.
Okay, what you want to know? The concept of constitutional medicine or uh, the concept of constitutional medicine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so actually that's a very big topic. Uh, uh, we, are- we all have tried to understand homeopathy based on this constitutional medicine concept. That means we all were trying to find a constitutional medicine for ourselves and our patients, right? One
Okay.
medicine which will suit for each and every situation for in your life. But the concept of constitutional medicine can be applied to a very small percentage of cases where the immune status is really good.
Okay.
Then only we might be able to find a single medicine that will cure all their issues. All other situations, we might require more than one therapy. To remember the number of cases in children. Most of the cases in children are calcarea carbonica. Am I right?
சீக்கிரம் வா, நான் கூட்டு போறேன். சட்டை போட்டு போலாம்.
But in grown-ups, we might not come across calcarea carbonica that frequent.
Okay, sir.
So it is not correct or it is not fair to comment that we might be able to find a single constitutional medicine for each and every individual which might cure that individual in all his illnesses.
Okay.
During one illness, he requires calcarea carbonica. In some other time, most probably a complementary remedy. So the concept of constitutional remedy or a single remedy taking care of all the ailments is not correct.
Okay,
It is
sir.
correct in very small percentage of cases.
Okay.
Hope it is clear.
Yes, sir. Is it safe to start with higher potency, sir?
See, of course, in autism spectrum diseases where there is no major physical problems, physical pathology is aggravated, it is always
Okay.
better to start with a high potency.
Okay.
Because the mental emotional plane is affected, and it is better to start with a high potency.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Other question?
Sir, if in a case of autism and the child is presenting with autism, all sort of common symptoms, as you mentioned, all those are common symptoms of autism. And if the child has a desire to travel, or while he travels, he is quiet.
I
When he
didn't
travels,
get you though.
he is quiet. When he is in motion, when he travels, if they are going somewhere else from the house or in a vehicle.
Yeah, you can take the rubric ameliorated by traveling or desire for travel.
No, I was asking whether it is a common symptom, like as it is a movement. No, after all, it is a movement, and it is the child may be feeling.
No, no, no. It is not. It is not a common symptom at all. It is actually a peculiar symptom. It is actually a peculiar.
And enuresis, bedwetting, can that be taken as a peculiar?
If the child hasn't down in his toiletry, we cannot take bedwetting as a common symptom or take bedwetting as a peculiar symptom.
So will
But
you please repeat it again?
If the toilet habit has not been established in a child, and he is still not able to urinate or defecate by his own, potty training is not happening, then it is not a peculiar symptom. If after settling down of such symptoms, he is potty trained, he is passing his stools regularly in a closet, and he is able to urinate in a lavatory, and then he develops a enuresis, nocturnal enuresis or bedwetting, then it is a peculiar symptom. Then you can give that.
If it is after an anger spree or like that, then also we can take it as a peculiar symptom.
Of course, of course.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So whoever wants to ask question, unmute and please ask the question. Because we are getting lots of disturbance, I have muted. You can unmute and ask the question. Any other questions?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you for the nice session. And after giving opium, patient sensitivity to pain improved because, as according to mother, she is not very sensitive to pain.
Yeah, of course, of course. Her sensitivity is much better now.
Okay, thank you,
She
sir.
started to cry. She started to show the effect of a hit, or even if a small beating she received when she is too much naughty, she started to respond.
So my
Yes.
question is, excuse me. My question will be, what is the role of you will start with the intercurrent like medorinum or something like that, or it should have come in between? How you will, since it didn't help in this case, medorinum case, that girl, like I am really hesitant about no source to start with. So how to look at that?
You are afraid to start with no suits.
Yeah, yeah.
Why?
Usually they will have very aggressive, aggravations will be very severe, and
No,
they may
doctor.
have lasting impressions if that
No.
medicine is wrong. So in that way.
No, if the medicine is correct, and if you are, actually what we expect after a correct prescription is an aggravation of symptoms. That is the best response that one can get. Aggravation followed by amelioration, that is the best response that we could get. So, getting an aggravation is not a big crime. But we have to limit the suffering of the patients by adjusting the dosage. If medorinum is indicated in the first instance, you have to. Don't be afraid to give medorinum in the as a first prescription, just on the tag that it is a no-suit. If the child or if the symptomatology requires medorinum, you have to prescribe. If it requires tuberculinum, you have to prescribe. Because always, actually, what happens is you have to treat the symptom similarly, right? If the current symptom is similar to medorinum, you have to prescribe. See, in this case, the medorinum hasn't provided the desired response. That's sure. But it has given some change or actually this all comes in the concept of layers. Actually, in homeopathy, in tough cases, we have to remove the layers one by one. Each and every layer won't give you surprises or won't give you goosebumps, isn't it? Of course, the medorinum has helped, but not in the desired manner. Medorinum and all those sequential prescriptions, one or two might have gone wrong, of course, but the other prescriptions were correct. That's why the child slowly progressed towards a better state of health. Hope it is clear.
Yes, yes, I got the point. Any other questions?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go. Yeah, speak up.
Hello.
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 Yeah.
Yes, go on. I can hear
Hello.
you.
I am a parent of. Yeah. My son is autistic. Okay. And what I feel is this insensitive to pain is a common symptom for most of the autistic individuals.
Of course, it can be. It can be, but you can try those medicines also.
Yeah, because it's a common symptom for, I mean, for 90% of autistic individuals, this insensitivity to pain is there.
Okay, but I
And
haven't.
even motion, I mean, traveling also helps. I mean, most of them are better by traveling. You know, that is also a common symptom in autistic individuals.
Okay, is it really a common symptom?
Yeah. Because I am a parent, I myself am a parent, I am seeing most of the, I mean, autistic children along with me in my journey. I'm
We
seeing about
all might
individuals.
become a little better by traveling because of the change in atmosphere and everything. That is common. But if you are really
Yeah.
better, and if one who is really aggressive and irritated and destructive becomes suddenly better by travel, I think we should take it.
Yeah, even though they are destructive, that is a behavioral problem again because of the situations and whatever might be the reason. But by traveling, they are better. Most of the autistic individuals. I mean, 80 to 90% of individuals.
You cannot take a symptom for prescription.
Yeah. We have to consider other symptoms in that
Yeah,
case.
when we have to when we consider other symptoms, and if suddenly if it comes around says medicines which are better by traveling, say Calcarea phosphorica or tuberculinum, this is an added support for you.
Okay.
If
But
I
in
can
these
chip
cases, then we have to consider other symptoms.
if I
Yeah.
can chip in, let me add few more things. Most of the things are common for all the autistic children, but it is not that everyone will have the same symptoms in the
Of
same
course.
intensity. So
Yeah.
the difference is when the intensity and the combination changes. So even the common symptoms, when the combination of the symptoms changes, it may indicate towards the remedies. That is my understanding. Because
Yeah.
even though all are common symptoms, not the same way in everyone. So that picture will be different in each child, though common symptoms. That's what I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to base our prescriptions on say at least we need 3 or 4 important keynotes to prescribe a remedy. So if one particular symptom, if it is a common symptom, and if it is supported by the other 3 strong keynotes of a remedy, you can give it.
Okay.
Okay. Hope it is clear.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sir, how will we trace the layers? Like how you mentioned about the layers and it being removed, no?
See, it is
How can
actually a
we, is
skillful
it
job.
particular to medicine or
Yeah,
symptom?
yeah. To identify the topmost layer. That's what your question is, right?
Yeah, which one to remove or which are the symptoms that we should consider first and what should
Yeah,
be
yeah,
considered
yeah.
later?
See, that comes with experience. One point, I'm not actually saying that it is not possible to everyone. See, what we have to look into is collect maximum keynotes. Collect maximum keynotes. The more represented, the more strongly represented keynotes, say 4 or 5 keynotes are there for tuberculinum, say 3 or 4 or 5 keynotes are there for Natrum muriaticum, 3 keynotes are there in Calcarea carbonica in your case. Okay, but if that 4 or 5 symptoms are really characteristic for tuberculinum, you have to prescribe tuberculinum first. And if the keynotes you got for tuberculinum are the lesser important keynotes, but the 3 keynotes you got for Calcarea carbonica are really strong. That means if you get a combination of, say, a desire for eggs and desire for sweets, and if that same individual has great perspiration on the base of the neck, on the cervical area, you should not think about any other remedy. So that's why I have told you that it comes with experience to find out the correct remedy. So for me, if such a combination is there amidst of a pool of symptoms which has many other strong keynotes, I will start with Calcarea carbonica. Okay. So I think it's a bit tougher to understand. It actually matters how the case evolves in front of you. Depends on the symptomatology. We cannot assume symptoms and say and tell that this is the correct one, this is the wrong one.
One more question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to know about the causation. Like how much importance you will give to the causation to remove the causation of that case. See, I have seen most of the few of the cases will start with head injury or with a vaccination injury, something like that. So where it will come in?
Yeah, very good question. See, there are different strategies according to Professor Vithoulkas to prescribe. The first strategy is to go for the totality of symptom. If totality is there, you prescribe according to the totality. If the totality doesn't work, and if there is a clear essence in it, hope you are aware about the concept of essence, right? Then you go for the essence-based prescription. And then if the totality is not clear, then the essence is not clear, then you look into the keynotes. If some strong keynotes of a remedy is there, you can prescribe on the basis of the keynote. And all these strategies, this third strategy, which is the prescription based on keynotes, also is not giving you proper result. Then you suddenly come across a probable cause, a causation. You can rely on that causation and you can prescribe. Say an injury in the history, a strong injury in the history, or a strong grief in the history. You can prescribe on the basis. So there are different strategies, and you have to apply each and every strategy depending on the circumstances or the situation. It is not that one strategy comes up or more important. Of course, the first and foremost strategy is the concept of totality of symptoms, because we are trying to always individualize the case, right? So individualizing in all aspects, the totality, that is the perfect simile. And if you are not able to raise a total and totality, then go for the next mode of prescription. Hope it is clear.
Yes. I think no more questions. Shall we?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Any
Yeah.
other layer is still there or not? How to come? How to know? Because opium is such a deep acting. So for 1 month or 2 months, it will not come. Any symptoms will not come.
Okay.
So how to know
another?
Any other? Yeah. Another layers are there.
How to identify whether there is whether there are more layers in that case, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, the layers is it is actually an assumption that there are layers. What we get in a case are symptoms, and we prescribe firstly on the basis of a few set of symptoms. And when those symptoms go and some new symptoms appear, then we have to think about a change in a remedy, a new symptom pattern. So the new symptom pattern which appears suggests the next layer.
Okay. And what about the old symptom reappearing? Will it not come? Only
Of
new
course,
symptom will come, or
that is the best reaction, that is the best follow-up that you can get, the reappearance of old symptoms. See, in a very healthy individual, after you prescribe a stimulant, say in very healthy individuals, you can find the concept of constitutional remedy. Say it is sulfur. You prescribe a dose of sulfur and you are waiting for say 6 months, 1 year. The thing will keep on improving without any interference, without any need for further prescription, without any need for any change of remedy. The old symptoms will reappear. The acute will come and go without intervention. Yeah? And this will happen until that particular individual is out of the whole situation. That means he gets completely cured. Maybe it might take say 1 or 2 years. There are cases of vitiligo or psoriasis which are responding to single remedy, single dose, and I am waiting for say 1 or 2 years.
okay.
The whole situation, the whole the reappearance of old symptoms, the Herring's law, everything will be visible in those cases. And if it is happening in a harmonious way and it is not affecting that individual, you should not interfere with a remedy. Let it run its course.
Okay. If the symptoms are peculiar and it's guiding to what you have prescribed, I mean, same PQRS symptoms, then we can interfere, no?
Of course, if you see, every time the basis of prescription should be symptom similarity. If you find a new symptomatology and if it is a clear symptomatology to prescribe a new remedy, you should prescribe.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir. It was really awesome. It has wide view. We had this one. So all PQRS and different medicines we can do. Only individual medicines we cannot treat. That we came to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, doctor.
We can end the session, I think. All questions are over now. If you have more questions, you can share in your groups. I can forward it to sir and we'll get back to you. And sorry for the interferences and some clear technical glitches in between. Sorry for that. Thank you one and all for all the support and coming to this seminar. You made it priority today. Thank you so much. And thank you, Vinod sir. It was a wonderful session. And
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you,
thanks
doctor.
a lot.
I would like to add a few more words, and I'm very grateful for the invitation, and hope everyone is safe and secure at your own places, and keep safe and secure. And it is really a sad situation for us homeopaths because we are not in the limelight to actually treat these sort of ailments when we know very well that we are the most equipped persons to actually deal with such a situation. With a simple symptomatology, with a clear symptoms, we will be able to manage much better in this COVID pandemic. And I know it's a sad situation, but still keeping our fingers crossed, we will one day get our part or our share to actually explore. And in fact, it was a great experience for me being with you all senior doctors and fellow doctors from different part of India. And thank you once again, one and all, for the patient listening. Please do come up with doubts. If I am a person who is in position to answer all these doubts, I'll be really grateful for that. So thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rekha. Okay, thank you
sir.
all. Bye-bye. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.